to Cold-Blooded Clowns. My name is Danny and I'm going to share with you my journey through the process of breeding ball pythons. Like many of you, I am not an expert. I'm just a guy with a closet full of snakes. Let's go. One thing I have noticed about ball python vlogs in general is that there are no shortage of the most beautiful snakes, the new facilities, the new morph that just came out and everyone's scrambling to get. But the one thing that I have noticed is kind of a mystery in the ball python industry is the investment side of the animals. What is an investment? An investment is having some money that instead of putting in the bank at below 1% interest, you decide to purchase something and hopefully it will grow over time, over a certain time horizon. And then when you get your money out, when you exit that investment, hopefully you make a profit. So in terms of ball pythons, let's take a look at putting together a ball python project with, say, roughly $20,000, and what kind of investment can we get, say, over 5 years? Can we get 90%? Is it more? Is it less? I don't know. Let's take a look. Okay, as you can see now, we're going to use the computer to start crunching numbers. But there are a couple of important items that we need to understand before moving forward. So off the bat, you do not need $20,000 to start a ball python breeding program. This is just a number that I have decided to use for this example. You can very easily start a breeding program with 2 normal ball pythons, a male and a female, for less than $500 as far as the animals are concerned. This investment revolves around dealing with living, breathing animals. And as many of you know, when dealing with Mother Nature, it can be very unpredictable. As the saying goes, Mother Nature can be very fickle. It is important to understand that things can happen. Your females can decide to not eat for extended periods of time. Your male may decide not to breed. And in the worst situations, an animal may perish. Although these scenarios are not the norm, it is important to understand the risks when getting involved. Keeping with the same theme, these are living, breathing animals. They must be cared for appropriately. That means proper animal husbandry. If you are not an animal person and you don't think you can take care of these animals adequately, then possibly this may not be the investment for you. Another important item to understand is that when putting together this vlog, I made a conscious decision to use a very conservative approach in calculating the return on investment. I did this because of some of the Mother Nature items that we mentioned a little while before. So in case one of these things did happen to your breeding program, you would have the means to make it up. We will talk about this much more as we go into greater detail on the investment. And lastly, I am not a financial specialist or an advisor, nor am I even a specialist when it comes to breeding ball pythons. I'm just a guy with a closet full of snakes and a passion for breeding reptiles. We are now going to begin planning our ball python investment, aka Project Clown. We will start off by talking about our startup costs. And I know, everybody wants to go out and buy their first snake. That's the most exciting part of this whole thing. But it is important to understand your costs before getting into this investment. Another thing to understand is that some of these things, such as the rack systems for the snakes, may take anywhere up to 14 weeks to be delivered. So you need to have these at least on order before purchasing your first snake. Okay, so what are startup costs? Startup costs are expenditures or money outlays that need to be made prior to purchasing any animals and getting your ball python project up and running. This is important when dealing with live animals because, as you can imagine, if you purchase an animal, you need a place for the animal to live. You need the proper environment for the animal to thrive. That's why starting with the startup costs are most important. Project Clown was designed to maximize our return on investment. So when looking at these numbers for startup costs, you're going to see quantities that are based on the following. We will eventually purchase 6 breeder animals, which will consist of 5 females and 1 breeder male. The quantities also reflect the items that will be needed for the eventual hatchlings that we get from our breeder animal. Some of these items listed will be used as of day 1. Others will not be used until year 2 as we start developing eggs and producing babies. A good example of this would be the incubator, the easy hatch trays, or the 6-quart tub. So I'm not going to go into greater detail on those items during this vlog. However, let's focus in on a couple items that are important as of day 1. Let's start with the rack system. As you can see, we purchased 2 rack systems from Reptile Basics. This is their VE6 line. We purchased these racks for a number of reasons. One of the most important reasons for us was saving space. These units are stackable and they can fit into a step-in closet. Another huge advantage of this rack system is that it utilizes 3 different sizes of tubs. For this project, we have chosen to go with adult-sized tubs and the newborn tubs. These racks also come included with heat tape in the price. I found them very easy to put together, and the PVC material that is used is waterproof. Now let's take a look at a couple other startup items. Next we have the thermostat. I found this thermostat on Amazon.com. It is fairly inexpensive and gets the job done. I chose it for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it has 2 outlets, so it can definitely work with the 2 rack systems that I purchased, and the price was right. One note is that if you're doing a larger project, say you have a larger rack system, more animals, this thermostat would either have to be used in conjunction with another thermostat, or you'll just buy a thermostat that can accommodate more rack systems, more tubs. Now we come to one of my favorite items that I have purchased for this startup program. It is a thermometer that has a base display plus 3 remote monitoring stations. It can monitor both temperature and humidity at 4 different locations. It has a ton of functionality, a bright light up LED display, and for the price, I really think you can't beat it. Next we come to the power strip that I purchased. Obviously we're buying a couple of electronic items and most likely you're going to have to be able to plug them into the wall. So don't skip out on this. Buy a decent power cord that can handle multiple outlets, has a surge protector, and I went with an all metal casing just for durability. Plus the color's pretty cool. And finally we have a digital scale. Now I was contemplating not including this in the vlog, but I wanted to make a point. I bought this scale because I thought the price was right and it was digital and you don't really need much more than that. However, what I have found is that this scale is perfect for hatchlings and subadults. Once your animals get a little bit larger, say 2,000 grams, this scale really does not do the job. So when purchasing this scale, it's better to spend a little bit more money and go a little bit larger. If you'd like to purchase any of the items discussed in this video, I will be leaving links in the description. Alright, as you can see, we are now back at our startup cost spreadsheet. And these items totaled in the amount of $1,539. Now, I know some of you are thinking, hey Danny boy, what about the purchase of snakes? This is going to be the largest startup cost of all. And you are correct. We are going to tackle that in part 2 of this vlog series, The Ultimate Investment, 90% Returns by Breeding Ball Pythons.